It sounds so like woo-woo-ish, but there was one day I remember where an ex and I had just broken up and I was feeling like there has to be more to life than this. Like life either sucks and something's going to happen, or, people out there actually enjoy their life. Like, why can't that be me? And it was a mindset shift that literally was like switching on a light bulb, and my world literally changed from that point on.
Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Pedraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. I have on today Meghan Gordon, and she is a creator of Balance by Meghan, which is an online community designed to empower and inspire you on your wellness journey so you can be the best version of yourself. Meghan is the host of Balance Your Life podcast. She's a 500-hour yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, and trainer. She's a wellness influencer and a human design leader. And we are talking about all of my favorite things today. And so I love this conversation with Meghan. We're talking all about yoga and really how yoga literally saved her life. She talks a lot about her journey through a lot of mental health issues that were really affecting her life, and how yoga meditation really transformed that, and how she's using that to help other people kind of find their own personal power, find their inner power and wisdom, and what it means to really live the way of yoga, and how yoga isn't just a movement. It's not just poses and movements, but it's actually a lifestyle. So we'll dive into that and about how you can dive in on your own personal journey. I'm so excited about this episode, y'all. Let's jump in. All right, y'all, let's jump in. I'm here with Meghan today, and I'm really excited to talk to Meghan because she loves all of my favorite things. And so that's what we're going to talk about: mindfulness, meditation, and yoga, human design, and all of my favorite things. So thanks so much for joining me today, Meghan.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, of course. I'm excited for you to share your story and to share all of your insight on all things mind, body, and mindfulness and all the fun things. So I guess let's just kind of start, because I feel like you have a lot to share in terms of like where you've come and kind of how you landed in this realm of, yoga and mindfulness and all that. So let's kind of start from there and kind of you share your story, everything you've been through and how you got here.
Okay, well, I'll keep it kind of short and sweet because I usually joke and say, like, how much time do you have? Because it has been a journey. I actually posted today online I get a lot of questions about my fitness journey. And to me, it's so ironic that I talk about fitness because I was the girl who lived on chicken fingers and fries. And my idea of vegetable was like corn, maybe carrots, if you're lucky. So right from the get-go, I was born with really severe asthma. So I've always had asthma as a person, I guess you could say. It has since gone away, but I struggled. Like I was in and out of the hospital all the time when I was really young. I was diagnosed in grade 4 with obsessive compulsive disorder to a really very extreme. Mm-hmm. I struggled with anxiety and depression. I was on meds from grade 5. And then I had also struggled with sexual abuse in my family. Mm. So I was kind of set up to, I don't want to say fail, but I really struggled throughout my life.
Yeah.
I was on medication. I was suicidal at some point. I was into self-cutting. I really, really struggled with confidence in myself. I was always asking people for their opinions on what to do. I was never able to make my own decisions. I was always just lack of confidence is the best word I can use, but I was just a really skittish person. And it wasn't until, it sounds so woo-woo-ish, but there was one day I remember where an ex and I had just broken up and I was feeling like there has to be more to life than this. Like life either sucks and something's going to happen, or, people out there actually enjoy their life. Like, why can't that be me? Mm-hmm. And it was a mindset shift that literally was switching on a light bulb, and my world literally changed from that point on. I still struggled with some OCD tendencies, but I would do like 30 or 40 things, and that dropped down to like 5 things. And I have since I've been included in studies because they still can't figure out like why someone such as myself was able to. OCD is known as like, you have it for lifelong.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lifelong thing. And I stopped it. I don't have any OCD tendencies to this day.
That's crazy.
I was on medication. I was still on medication at this point, but I since weaned myself off. I shouldn't say weaned myself off. I stopped cold turkey, which I never recommend anybody
to
do. For me, it worked.
Yeah.
So that one in itself was a journey, but it was literally just a decision to be like, either this is the way life is going to go and it sucks and I don't want to do it anymore,
right?
Or there's something to live for. And I just need to make a decision to be happier, however that looks. And that's what kind of catapulted me into this world of, personal development and yoga. For me, it's not just like poses, like it's a true lifestyle for me.
Yeah. So what do you think was kind of that catalyst for you that changed? Like, what was the light bulb moment? Was it something you read, something you listened to, something you did? What was that moment?
It was literally just a decision I made that like, either I'm going to take my life or I'm not, but something has to change. And it like, that sounds so rock bottom and it sounds so extreme, but that was for me, I wasn't ready to die ultimately. Like I was just like, I'm not ready for this to be game over for me.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I mean, I think that's how it happens for a lot of people. A lot of people, it takes that rock bottom moment for you to like realize, okay, what are my options here? Because literally, like you said, it's one of 2 options. You either live or you don't. And you just have to realize if there is something to live for or not. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people have that. That's what it takes for some people. And where did kind of your yoga come into play? Was that something that kind of helped your healing, something you found afterwards?
It was something I found afterwards. I did it when I was like 14 or 15. My mom wanted me to do it. She thought it would help at the very least with my asthma. She's like, we can control your breathing. I did it in like some dodgy basement with a bunch of older ladies at the time. And I was just like, this isn't for me. This is like, I don't get
weird.
it.
Yeah.
And when I was starting to come off of my medication, my meds made me so sleepy. Like I literally napped all the time. And when I was off of it, I was like, I'm kind of bored. Like, what do I do?
Now what do I do? Yeah.
Normally I'm napping. And I was just like, okay, well, I had tried going to a gym. I didn't like it. It's a whole process. But I was like, well, maybe now's the opportunity to get in shape because even though I've always been a smaller person, I was not healthy in the least bit. Like I would get winded going upstairs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll try yoga. Like a little voice was like, try yoga. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do yoga, it's going to be power yoga and I'm going to get sculpted and toned. And I threw on like a 20-minute power video on YouTube and it kicked my butt. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on here, but it kicked my ass. And I was like, oh my God, this is yoga. And I was like, well, I'm doing this video until I master it. So it was like 20 minutes. I did it 3 times a week. And then I eventually was able to get through the video without dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like I feel really good. Like maybe I'll try a new video and I'll do 4 days a week and maybe it'll be half an hour. And it just progressed from like 3 days became 4 days became 5. Then I was doing it every day and not intensely all the time. I just kind of intuitively, like at the time I would open videos, the big one was Yoga for Adrian with me.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, oh, like this video sounds kind of like what I need right now. And whether it was 20 minutes or 40 minutes, I just did it. And I was like, I immediately noticed on the mat, like I was just more calm, grounded, and centered. It didn't always translate off of the mat right away, but it became this kind of cycle of like, I was starting to notice these physical shifts in my body. And it became, well, I don't want to eat crappy because I'm starting to notice that I'm getting stronger. So what can I start to eat that would kind of keep this
Support
going?
That. Yeah.
Then it became, I started sleeping better. And then it became, I was like, it was just this snowball effect that happened so quickly once it got started.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I like that you said before that yoga is a lifestyle for you. So what does that mean for you? Because I think some people, and I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that do yoga, but some people don't. And kind of like you, because I think sometimes too, you kind of have to try a little bit some different styles, because there's so many different styles of yoga, and some may not be for you. Like there might be some, like you said, your first experience was like, okay, well, this is weird. Like, so that is some people's experience. And then they kind of get turned off to it and they don't try it again. So when you say like yoga is a lifestyle, what does that mean to you?
For me, I went through yoga teacher training and we were taught the 8 limbs of yoga, which is essentially in, layman terms, it's how do you treat yourself? How do you treat others? Poses, for me, it's more like movement, breath work, intro to meditation, being in meditation, and then the connection with, I feel like I'm forgetting one, connection with the universe, divine, God, whatever it is you want to call it. So I noticed when I was doing my yoga, so physically just movement, I was kinder to myself. I was always so incredibly hard on myself. I'm nice to other people, but that internal dialogue, I was like, I am so mean to myself.
Yeah.
And it started to quiet that a little bit. And I was still very physical based at the time of my yoga teacher training. Like when they told me, oh, we're going to do meditation, I was like, absolutely not. This is
not happening.
I don't meditate. It's not for me. And I remember the first time the studio owner, so my teacher at the time, did it. And it was the only time in my entire life where I completely shut off the noise. And I remember bawling my eyes out and going, that's the only time I've never not been so negative to myself. And it just became, there's not one point where I realized, oh my God, my life has totally changed. I would notice like I was less judgmental towards other people. I would notice that I was kinder to myself. For me, movement wasn't so much about getting in good shape. It was more like I'm treating my body as the temple that it's meant to be, right? I need to show it some love.
Right.
The meditation kicked in. And then it was just this, like the withdrawal of the senses, in the sense of like, I stopped caring about 90%, because I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I still have those days of like what other people thought of me. I was so conditioned to be like the people pleaser. Like even in my family, I'm known as the person who solves all the problems, right? Everybody can come to Megan and tell them their story. And I approached it as more like I'm not judging you. I'm here to hear both sides of the story, but I'm also not here to people please. I'm here to, speak my truth. That's still probably one of the things I work on to this day the most. But it was just all of this just kept pulling me into this lifestyle of following those 8 limbs of yoga. And that's the way I was taught. It's not always taught that way, but that's the way I was taught.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, because I think I love how you explain, because that's how I see it. And that's how I view it too. And I think a lot of times people do just see it as poses and, or like if you're going to what used to be Bikram, and it's not called Bikram anymore, but like a hot yoga classes. And it's like, you do the poses in a specific order, and it's, it's all about, it's like at least like I did Bikram yoga, when it was called Bikram yoga. I did it for, I don't know, a summer. So just me and one of my girlfriends tried it out, and there was so much competition, like who was going to be in the front row. And there's like 80,000 people in this tiny room, and everybody's swinging sweat all over each other. And I was like, this is gross, first of all. Second of all, like, this is not yoga to me. And no, not bashing. I know people like it and people swear by it, and that's fine. It works for some people. I did not feel like that. For me, that wasn't how I saw yoga. Like, I don't want there to be competition. Like, that's not why I'm coming to yoga, So I think it's a good distinction that it's not always taught like that with the 8 limbs of yoga, but I think it's such a good perspective of it, because looking at it in terms of that like self-development piece, because that's kind of how I see it when I do yoga, when I do meditation. It's not just the act of doing it. It's like that self-development piece. And you are doing something kind for your body, and you're building in those yoga principles, those 8 limbs of yoga you were talking about. Like, you're building that into like your embodiment. Like, I think that's the important part.
Yeah. And even within the 8 limbs, there's, the niyamas and the yamas, which is like, even for somebody, like, I feel like that could be a whole podcast episode, the fall of the Bikram Empire.
Right.
But even that, like I was mentored under an Ashtanga yoga teacher, same kind of concept.
Yep.
Poses are a little different, but same concept.
Right.
And for me, it was like, I really hatched on like, this is discipline. Like, can you get through some things that are challenging in your life? Just like this 1.5 hour long class, like, who does classes that long? But it was a good lesson for me. Yes. And that's the way that I approached it. It was like, and also, can you be kinder to yourself? Maybe there are days where I can't get through, I think it's 75 poses.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe I get through 70, and it's like, be kinder to yourself. Today was not the day. Yesterday you could do it. Maybe tomorrow you will, but today is a day of showing yourself a little more compassion.
Yep, for sure. And I think that's a huge piece too. And it's, and I've been really blessed to have gone to some really great yoga instructors. I've got amazing yoga instructors at my studio. And I think that's kind of the motto at my studio. We don't just do yoga at my studio. We do other things, but that's kind of the general motto where it's like, just be kind to your body. Like there's no judgment for yourself, no judgment for other people, right? I think that's the whole thing is like being able to listen to your body and use that as like an avenue to be able to learn more about your body so that you can listen to it, because it translates to other things besides just doing yoga, being able to listen to your body and like respect that. Like you're saying, like, I'm not here today. Maybe I'll try it again tomorrow or whenever,
I couldn't agree more with you about that.
Yeah, I think it's an important part of it. So the other thing that you do is human design. So we've had because I love human design. So we've talked about this like multiple times. You're probably getting tired of me talking about it, but we talked about a lot here on the podcast. And I just kind of want to get your take on how you implement it in everything that you do with your yoga and just overall wellness, and how you can kind of, I guess, what is your take on the connection between the two with yoga and kind of tuning into that like inner wisdom piece that human design also brings in?
Yeah. First of all, I'm the same way. I feel like human design. I'm like, what's your human design?
Yes.
Podcast interviews. People are probably tired of hearing me talk about it, but also, what is it?
No, but really, what is yours, by the way?
Oh, I'm a 1-3 self-projected projector.
Oh, look at you. Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't know. My son is a projector. I did my kids not too long ago. So I'm like learning all about the projectors, because me and my husband are both manifesting generators. Okay. My daughter is a generator. So I've been like learning about the projector world. So that's so fascinating.
To me, human design was that thing that opened Pandora's box.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
same.
I loved yoga. Even the chakra system within yoga. Yes. I was like, oh, this it feels so good.
Yes.
But I also was like, I feel like there's a piece missing. Mm-hmm. It was like looking at a puzzle piece and it's like, oh, it's completed. And then you notice there's one piece that's missing. Mm-hmm. And I stumbled across it when I was talking to a girlfriend about business coaching. And she was like, like you're doing all the things, you're online, you're doing all these things. Like, I feel like you would really like human design, because I feel like you're burning yourself out and maybe there's a piece within your human design that you're not listening to. And that's why you feel this way. And I was like, whatever. Like, I do yoga. I'm not doing this other thing called human design.
Right.
And then it was like, then I heard it on a podcast and I was like, oh, weird. Like, I can't believe I'm hearing it. And then it was in my ether and it was like everybody and everything online was like human design. And I was like, all right, I'm doing this.
I'll pick up the sign.
So I went online. I did my human design chart. I just like plugged in my own information. And once again, I'm a very emotional person without having my solar plexus defined. So go and figure that one out. But I remember crying, reading just the energy piece, the energy part, my authority and my strategy on human design. And I was like, oh, this literally explains so much. It explains when I'm out of alignment, I experience bitterness, jealousy. And for me, it's bitterness and jealousy. And I was like, I always just thought that was like, part of me. And it was no, that's your way to know you're out of alignment or you desire something that somebody else has. Also, I used to joke all the time. I'm like, I need to find the perfect job that's like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. because that's the only time I'm really willing to put in the hard work.
Right.
Even when I worked corporate, I could outperform everybody in like a 4-hour period. I was the person that had multiple job titles. But, it took me a little bit to get my groove going in the morning. And then there would become like 3 o'clock or 3:30. And I was like, I'm done for the day. And I have another hour and a half. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Right. And it was like, but I did so much more than everybody else. But now I'm just burnt out.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, this is what it means to be like a projector, is like, we're not meant to work, a typical job. For me too, I really recharge my energy through sleep. And that was, when I was younger, I was called Sleeping Beauty because I used to love sleeping.
Yes.
And even now I have a nighttime routine where I really prioritize and value getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And reading this, I was just like, oh, click, click, click. Like all these things are making sense. And then of course you go down the rabbit hole of human design and you're like, my profile lines make sense. My gate, I have gate 63 in my sun personality. It's like the gate of doubt. And it's like, I'm constantly not like doubting things, but it's like, I like to prove things without a shadow of a doubt that like they work or that, it's the right path or, what's the other side of the coin here. And just human design was like, I had the cake, I had this delicious inside, the frosting and everything was amazing. And I just had the cherry on top. And it was like, now everything makes sense.
Yep. That was absolutely my experience. And I love that because I feel like, and you're so right, like because the chakra system is kind of part of human design, but I feel like the same way where it's like, because I was always fascinated by the chakra system and like, I've done Reiki before and stuff. And that's so fascinating to me. But yeah, there's like this piece. I felt the exact same way about human design. And I'm like constantly telling people like, you have to do your human design. Like at least just go get your free chart online and just get the basics. Like you have to.
Yeah. And then like try not to go down the rabbit hole.
Exactly.
Like everybody does.
Yes.
But it's even knowing your energy piece, I feel like makes it so much easier to be like, I wasn't blown away by anything. I didn't read anything and go, that doesn't sound like me. It was like, oh my God, it's communicating exactly how I feel. And I just couldn't articulate it.
Yeah, totally. Well, and the things like for me, a lot of it were things that you would either like felt like you needed to apologize for, or felt like you needed to change about yourself. Like, this isn't right. I can't do this. I shouldn't be doing this. But it's like all of those pieces were like part of me. Like, oh, well, this is me. Like I was designed this way. Right. Like it was mind blowing for me too.
Yeah. It's amazing. If there's ever something that, doesn't fit my life, I'll be to my husband and be like, it's not in my human design. This is why I struggle with this.
So true. I love it. So I do love to always give like some tangible takeaways for people that listen. So I guess that going back to kind of what we were talking about with yoga and meditation, and we mentioned that there's so many different styles and stuff. So I guess can you give your tips, because you are a 500-hour yoga teacher, like you've gotten tons of training and all the things. Can you give some maybe tips or strategies that people can use to kind of start their own personal practice and what that can look like for people maybe who have never done it before, or they've done it and they haven't really like jived with it?
So the first thing I would kind of say is, do you want to find a form of movement or do you want to find a form of stillness? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's what do you truly, truly desire? And what do you feel like you need? Like maybe you are that busy person and you need that opposite, but there's no right or wrong, right? Like I came from a perspective of I want to get in shape, tone, and fit. If that's what you want to do, power to you. Work with what are you drawn to? What do you feel like I desire to move my body as a form of fitness? Maybe you should try Pilates or power yoga. Maybe you're like, I have constant lower back pain and I just need to stretch out my lower back because I sit at a desk all day. Beautiful. Maybe you focus a little bit more on something gentle where you're just moving your body. I also feel like don't overcommit yourself to, I'm going to do it 7 days a week. Like pick a couple of days where you're not trying to cram it into a schedule where you're like, I have this little bit of time before the kids wake up or, kids are out to school and, before breakfast, I'm usually scrolling on Instagram at this point, 10 minutes. And I feel like if you just say, okay, just 10 minutes, like what else are you going to do? If you're going to be on social media, why not do something a little better for yourself? Throw on a video, like Google what you think you need or YouTube what you think you need. 10 minutes, lower back pain. Or ask someone who's in your circle that is in this, be like, hey, I want to start yoga. Do you have any recommendations, right? If somebody's first starting out in their journey, I'm a very power-based kind of teacher. I'm not necessarily going to push myself onto somebody who's like, I'm looking just to like stretch it out for a few minutes for 10 minutes. I can recommend you to somebody else though, but I have people that I'm like, try this person out, try this video, then just see how that kind of goes for you. And I feel like people want like, do this exact video at this exact time, and this will change your life. Like you have to do some internal questioning.
Right.
And then I think it's just follow that curiosity. Once you've tried 10 minutes a few times a week, how do you feel about 15 minutes? How do you feel about maybe doing 4 days a week as opposed to 3? And then it becomes, instead of finding a spot for it to be in your schedule, you start to schedule other things around your practice, because it makes you a better human being. It makes you a better mom. It makes you a better partner. It makes you a better business owner. And then again, you start to increase the time. Maybe you try a new teacher. I'm somebody who I really love structure and routine. Every once in a while, I'll be like, I'm kind of tired of doing the same teachers I've been doing. I just feel called to try somebody new. And just follow that curiosity of being like, if you feel drawn to a video or a person, try it out. If you don't like it, there's an idea of giving something a little bit of time to make its way into your life, but also knowing this truly wasn't for me. I need to try something else.
Yeah. I love that. Those are such good strategies. I love that. Well, and I think it all comes down to just doing it intuitively, right? Like what you feel you need, follow, like you're saying, follow the curiosity and kind of go where your intuition is telling you to go. So yeah, I love that.
And if you're like, I don't know the intuition, find somebody online who inspires you and ask them what they're doing, and then do what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how you start. Yeah. I love it. So I do have one more question I want to ask you. That one question I like to finish the show with and ask everybody. But before I do that, can you let everybody know where the best place is to find out more about you and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, thank you so much for this. So the best place online is Balance by Meghan, Meghan. That's my handle across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Those are the best places. Balancebymegan.com for my website, especially if you want to see any workshops or retreats that I'm offering. I offer a ton of free content. I have my own podcast too, which you'll be on, which I'm super excited about, which is just Balance Your Life. So there's a lot of free stuff out there for people to check out. And then I have offerings, and when there's not a global pandemic, I like to do retreats.
Love it. I love it. I want to be looked at on those retreats. I love me a good retreat. So I'm excited to see what's coming up for those. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And of course, I have all the links to that in the show notes, so y'all can go check those out. But the question I like to finish off is, what do you think is the most important thing you can do to live with purpose?
Such a good question. I think it's getting quiet with yourself and truly asking you, what is your heart's desire? Because it won't lead you wrong. It might change, it might pivot, but really asking yourself in this moment, what do I truly, truly desire? And it will serve a purpose on some level.
I love it. Goes back to that intuition. I love it. I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much, Meghan, for this conversation. I love chatting with you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for this, Hope. This was so much fun.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I love to know what you find useful in these episodes, so I know how I can provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics that you want to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.